Alright, hello everybody, Vikingsman18 here with another My Thoughts On video. I did one for Dragon Age the Veilguard earlier this year, and it did pretty well. So I figured I'd do one again for a game I just beat on the channel, which is Silent Hill 2 Remake. So, first things first, Silent Hill 2 Remake is a remake of Silent Hill 2, which I think was a PS2 game when it first came out. Now, a little bit of my history with it, I know nobody cares, but just so y'all know, I only ever played Silent Hill 1 and 2, and when I say I played them, I think I was like 13. So I just turned 30 in December, oh god. And so we're talking 17-year gap since I think I last played these games. Like 16, 17-year gap. So I went into this sorta kinda blind. I knew the basics. Like, I knew James, I knew Pyramid Head, I knew the big spoiler at the end of the game. And that was pretty much my process going into this game. I'm not as familiar with Silent Hill as I am Resident Evil. So, a couple things I want to get out of the way is Silent Hill 2 is a game about a character named James who received a mysterious letter from his dead wife asking him to come to Silent Hill and basically, like, find her. That's not exactly what the letter said, but for purposes of this, that's essentially what it was. And that's where the game kicks off. You don't really get told anything else. The game just picks up and you are told to go. Now, I played this on the PlayStation 5 Pro. This game was labeled as having a PS5 Pro enhanced patch on it. And I gotta say, the game kind of had a decent amount of graphical glitches that I didn't really think was that, like, it shouldn't have been there. This patch was released back in November, and from what I've read online, Bloober Team doesn't seem to be putting out any kind of patch to fix it, because it's now been 4 months and they've been dead silent on the topic. If I'm wrong, please tell me in the comments. Did it ruin the game for me? Absolutely not. But there was some graphical glitches. I played it on the performance mode because I will always choose 60 frames over graphical fidelity. And that's just first thing I wanted to get out of the way is it's a little shocky on PlayStation 5 Pro, but nowhere near bad enough that it's going to ruin your experience. Now, the characters in this game, one of the things I wanted to go over, like I said, the main character's name is James. You're going to feel all kind of ways about, oh, by the way, this is a spoiler review, that's in the title. You're going to feel some kind of way about him at some point. That's just the way it is, based on how you feel about him. You kind of feel for him. The ending of the game happens, which, here's the big spoiler, guys, if you didn't know. You find out he actually murdered his wife. You feel for him during most of the game, and then when that happens, you kind of feel like, well, you kind of deserve what's happening to you. And then you kind of find out that the reason, like, Pyramid Head is a manifestation of his guilt, essentially. And Pyramid Head is the creature that's chasing you all throughout the game. He's like the main antagonist of the game. And, basically, Silent Hill is tormenting James. The other characters in the game, you have Angela, and forgive me, I'm not familiar with their last names, I don't even remember. You have Angela, who is dealing with trauma from her life with her dad. You have Eddie, who dealt with a lot of bullying trauma. And you have a little girl who, oh my god, I forget her name already. Oh god, you're all gonna hate me. But a little girl who knew Mary from their time in the treatment center. It's not a large cast of characters by any sense of the means, but it's enough to make the game feel complete. The combat in the game is what I would have expected from a Silent Hill game. It's nothing crazy at all. You have 2 melee weapons. One of them gets swapped out with the other one at a certain point in the game where you can't swap back and forth. And then you have a total of 3 firearms, a pistol, a shotgun, and a rifle. Ammo is scarce based on the difficulty you played the game on. And that's pretty much it for combat. You either whack stuff or you shoot it, and you're more actively going to whack stuff than you are going to shoot it. The enemies in the game, there is not a huge variety, but they stayed faithful to the original game, if that makes sense, so it's not really an issue. You have the straitjacket enemies that are like the very first common ones, the ones who roll on the ground that are straitjacket, the ones who vomit on you who are wearing a straitjacket. You have the mannequins, I think they're called, the wall climbing mannequins, and then you have the nurses. And then you have little bugs. I think that's all of them, and that's not including bosses. But combat-wise, the game's fine. Like, it's a little chunky, but what Resident Evil and Silent Hill game isn't? Like, it didn't bother me. The bosses in the game, there isn't a lot. Pyramid Head takes up like half of them. And they do their job, I guess. There's nothing... You're not playing this game for the boss fights. So I'll leave it at that pretty much. The endings of the game. When I played the game, which... If you're watching this, the last video either uploaded the day before or like a day or two ago. I ended up getting the in water ending. What that ending is James essentially can't live with his guilt of killing Mary, that he drives his car into the water and basically commits suicide. I don't know how I got that ending. I know that there are different triggers in the game. Like, I tried looking it up before, and oh my lord, is there a bunch of different triggers for, like, what can give you what ending. I think there's 8 or 9 different endings, I believe. And I wasn't trying for any of them because I didn't remember any of them. I just played the game like I would. And apparently you get the in water ending, like if you're aggressive towards enemies, if you were like beating their dead bodies. I only did that because I wanted to make sure they were dead, but I guess that gave me a lot of points towards the suicide ending. Long story short though, I was fine with it. I don't want to say it's a good ending, but James isn't exactly a great person either. I mean, he killed his wife. I don't care how troubled you are or how tired you are of her being in treatment. And she treated you bad when she was in treatment. Yes, we find that out, but I don't think that gives you a reason to kill your wife. That's just me. And I didn't watch the other endings in case I want to go play the game again myself. I know there's an ending where it's like a leave one where you just leave Silent Hill. There's a Maria ending where you leave Silent Hill with Maria, who was basically like the manifestation of Mary. And yeah, so that's the ending I got. Please tell me which one you guys got below. But with all that being said, I'm going to give my final rating. And my final rating is... boom! A 9 out of 10. Which, for me, is a phenomenal game. It's not perfect. I wouldn't say it's anywhere close to perfect. I originally was going towards like an 8.85, like I did Veilguard, which has no point in being said in this, but I'm just saying. But it felt low. Like, I felt like it deserved higher than like an 8.5, so I gave it a 9. And I'm happy with that. I thought it was a phenomenal game. I thought they did a great job. I don't know the original faithful enough to really complain or say anything otherwise, but like, well, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, they didn't do this. I don't know. Like, I don't remember. So I enjoyed the game for what it was. I really enjoyed it. I do want to go back and play the original at some point, but kind of want to take a break on it. And then a couple final thoughts on the game. It took me, and I'm a baby when I play these games, everybody knows that. Not for the scariness, but I like to play with the amount of games I try to... This is how my mind works, and people are going to hate me for it. I tend to play games on the easy mode, not to try to breeze through them, but just to kind of like... I don't have a lot of time to play video games in my life anymore as much as I want. So I try to just kind of try to get through them fast, but also take my time, if that makes sense. So I played this on easy, and I did the puzzles on easy because I am not that smart. I like to say I'm smart, but when it comes to puzzles and video games, I'm not that great. And, oh, that's one thing I didn't even talk about, the puzzles. We'll get to that in a second. I think I took a little over 12 hours, maybe close to 13, somewhere around that to beat the entire game. And I explored a lot. Like, I explored every room that I thought I could hit. And I'm sure you could take longer. If you're playing on normal difficulty, it could probably take like 15 to 20 hours to beat the game. And I thought the game was a little too long, in all honesty. It gets kind of repetitive, and please keep in mind, this doesn't reflect my final score. Like I said, I gave it a 9 out of 10, which for me is a phenomenal game. The reason I gave it a 9 out of 10 is because the repetitive nature of this game with the puzzles, the finding the different pieces to match things together for the puzzles, I enjoy that kind of game. I enjoy Resident Evil like that. I enjoy this game because of that. If you don't enjoy that, you would have a completely different rating than the one I have right here. Because that is all this game is. It's, you go to a different area, you get a different map, you try to enter all the different rooms, you find different keys, you find different pieces, you solve different puzzles, you advance. Guess what? You're now in a new building that has a new map, new puzzles, new pieces to find. And by the time I got to the labyrinth, which is like the last third of the game, because there's only one other area after that, I was kind of burnt out. in all honesty, I was just like, I'm kind of ready for this game to be over, because from what I remember, you can beat the original Silent Hill 2 in like less than 5 or 6 hours. If you don't know what you're doing, maybe like 10 hours. Like, it's not that hard of a game. Not that this game was hard, but just saying. The puzzles, I really enjoyed. Some of them, even on easy, or light difficulty, sorry, had to get my brain thinking a little bit. God forbid if it was on hard, I'd still be in like the first area of the game. And I think that pretty much covers everything, guys. Like I said, if you like that style of game, you would probably be around the same rating that I am. If you don't like that style of game, then you probably won't enjoy Silent Hill 2. Because that's essentially what this game is. I wouldn't call it a puzzle game, but it's definitely survival horror with puzzles, if that makes sense. I would almost say it involves puzzles more so than Resident Evil does. But with all that being said, I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you for more videos later on. Have a good one.